Hello and welcome to a Naked WordPress, and in this video we're going to cover posting as WordPress website on Google Cloud Platform. This is basically where we are at the minute. We're in a dashboard. We can see we've got certain things pinned to the top here that we're going to use, and I'm going to take you through and explain to you. What we're going to do is when I've gone through and explained and done all this, and I'm going to delete it all and I'm going to begin from scratch and take you through every step of the journey of getting your website hosted on GCP. And then, for instance, what we want to see quickly, this is the domain name where we get to set in DNS and SSL. So we can see up here we've got a domain name, got an SSL. If we go back into here, let's just have a quick look. Network services, DNS. And this is a zone called BookMine Online, or BookMine, which we'll be covering shortly when I've said deleted it and we start again and we go through. But what we can see is basically this is our website address, our URL. If I just duplicate this quickly, and what I'll show you is a WordPress instance when it loads. But we'll go to this one and we'll load it from here. Cloud, come on. Right, deployment manager. This is how I deploy WordPress. And what we'll see in a moment is that this here, 199.223. And we see the tick to verify everything's okay there. So wait for this to load. Pending. That'll load in a second. There we can see. And then that's your WP admin. It always sets up the admin name as user, which is clever, and then it shows a password here, which obviously see my passwords getting to the back end at the moment, but it shall be changed in the back of WP admin. Now, when we get to that, I'll show you an example. First of all, we've installed this, we've done the DNS, we've got the SSL, we've logged into the back of WP admin, and we're like, I don't want people to be able to see this password. So I'm going to do the usual thing, and I'm going to change it within. Just go into it in a second. I'm sure you all know how to change your passwords and stuff. Like users, for instance. Then me. These are all my accounts anyway, so it don't matter. You can see the email address. That's obviously, as I said, user, administrator. I've got these, which what I'll do actually is, even when we delete it all, I'll just quickly delete them. Apply. Right, so like I said, we're going to see this, and then we're going to see these here. What these are basically is this is what's known as an A record. And you put in the IP address and you put in the website address. Yep. See that? This is to do with setting up your DNS. So wherever you are currently hosted and it's pointing to, mine is currently it was GoDaddy, but as you can see, I've changed it. But in the delete and recreate video, I will set the name servers back to GoDaddy ones, which will be something like NS domain 27 control, whatever. And when you get the Google ones, if you notice here, look, C1, C2, C3, C4. So whichever one you get, you might get B, you might get D, you might get A. So regardless. And then what we've got here, excuse me, it sets the SOA when you verify the domain. And then BookMine Online, this is to verify for Search Console. And then this here, cdn.bookmine.online, c.storage.googleappies.com. Now we use a plugin called, I believe it's stateless to do that, but again, we get tired of it. But what that allows to happen is that we create a storage bucket. And what this storage bucket does is it allows media to be dumped here. As you can see at the moment, bucket CDN bookmine.online, and we've got 2019, and it takes you through the usual thing that you used to, months, and then what files are in here. And we see Google Authenticator, so we can see where it is, we can see the URL and so forth. So we'll be setting that up in a bit. But that's mainly to do with WP Offload Media, so we might not be setting the address to show CDN as such as that. But there you can see storage.cloud.google.com, but it will actually be called, I think, storage.appies.google. But again, we'll cover that. We can see that access is public because everybody needs to see these pictures because it gets saved to a website. So like we said, once it's saved here in your storage bucket, the storage buckets are not optimized brilliantly to deliver media. So what we then do is we go into here and we go to VPC, I think it's it, network services. We go to load balancing, and we'll see a few things here. We can see a tick, one backend bucket, HTTPS. Just quickly open that a second for you to have a look. You see certain things. You see the certificate's valid. when we set a certificate, it'll be set to a subdomain, which we'll set. I set mine in GoDaddy, and I'll show you how we do that. So we'll step on through that. We can see here, storage bucket name. We can see that the CDN is enabled. And what this means, this load balancer allows that storage bucket that I've just shown you to be distributed on Google's CDN. So it's like around 80 servers around the world. So obviously, if your website is hosted, which again we cover, you can host it where you want. But if you're hosted in, say, Los Angeles, and then someone from Sydney is going to come and visit your site, don't want to be sending everything over, especially if you're heavy on images, you know, background images, product images, whatever. So I'll be hosted like in, say, Sydney, there'll be a server in Sydney. So when you visit from Sydney, you'll get your website, and things like your JavaScript and your CSS will come from Los Angeles, but your images will all be served from Sydney. And as we see, you know, in certain things, like people start going to all these hosting things, and then you bring it in, and then you start going to Cloudflare, CloudFront, whatever, start having matters, you know, your CDN, and then you start splitting everything up, and you've got 5 websites, and it's all crashing. It's all going terrible because, one, you don't really want too many websites in there. 2, if you're selling it for a client, you may as well just get them on board with show them, look, you know, when we cover the costs, it goes from something like $4 a month all the way to $12,885. But that's the type of thing that I expect if I have eBay or Amazon or something to have, you know, not just a little WordPress website. So what else do I need to show you? You know, we've gone through, we've set that up, Right, as we said, because I have got the SMTP plugin in, we can see it here. So what I'm going to do is quickly go to plugins, installed, and then I'm going to deactivate that plugin. Now, when you install this, it's an installation of WordPress certified by Bitnami. You get lots of these all standard. I've added this into a play about with because I was still helping somebody in a WordPress group, and they were looking for the best plugin that were free, so I had a look at this. So that's well cool. So I've kept that, and I'm going to use that again later on. WooCommerce, obviously, if you're selling, you know, you don't actually have to have WooCommerce, you can go full commerce others, but I prefer WooCommerce. We've got WMail, which we're going to now deactivate. Now, when we go to here, let's just say we go to settings, general. Then we can see at the minute that that's the email address. Now, what I'm going to change it to is, let's see, Oakwood Solutions@Gmail. Now, what we should see is when we do this and we click save update, whichever it is, save changes. Let me tell that there's, there we go. There's a pending change of the admin email to awkwardsolutions@gmail.com. So if we quickly open that up, we should see that there's not actually, we even got it on here, an account. So we've got quite a few accounts here, look. Right, here's an account. Gmail, there we go. Password should be saved out for that. Next, let's have a look in mail. I'm not really expecting it to have done it. If it has, it's a miracle. But like I said, when I first went through learning this, and there was like 1 or 2 other videos that don't take you anywhere near this. As you can see, there's a lot of seeking jobs. That's from like years ago. Should really unsubscribe. Clearing our university. So we can see there's nothing coming. We've got social things, LinkedIn, promotions, national clearance survey. So it's not coming. So go back in here quickly. Go back to plugins. And then what we'll do is, hopefully it's not going to have made it all go skew with it. We'll activate it again. So the plugin's active, and then we'll go back to settings, general. And what we'll do is we'll cancel that quickly, and then we'll do it again. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this time we should get a message up here saying send. Right, settings saved, sorry. So have we got it? So you change that. I've just had that go on my phone anyway, so that's a good sign. And we can see admin book mine online, new admin email address. Yeah. Now, like so, when I first set this up, and I went into these here plugins that come installed, like you know, with most themes and other installations, we've got this, That I don't need. I don't need that. I'd much rather just put a little bit of code in the edit and then go look at it in Google Analytics rather than cluttering with plugins. Again, the more working components something has, the greater the chance of failure. Hello, Dolly, whoever's brain idea. Look, Prince, open up your admin screen, tells you a lyric from Hello, Dolly. Jetpack, I don't use that. Simple tags, I'm not using that. I'm using these. Probably not use that. We've got that going and we've got this going. But like I say, it's all going to get deleted in a bit, but just soon I see I sort of, okay, get rid of everything. Shouldn't take that long. Another thing is, what I'm going to show you, the reason why I decided to move my hosting. This is why. So at the moment, this is in GoDaddy's backend, as you're all aware. You know, you must have seen this is cPanel and everything. This is my problem here. Look, statistics. Crashed, 1 gigabyte used, 1 megabyte used, done. So we'll watch this and I'll be quiet for a moment and let you listen to a video who's basically my client who's having me do it for him. GoDaddy hosting. Yeah, again, this is happening every single day. And, you know, the website's got brilliantly and everything, all the plugins are being checked for any sort of misconfiguration, anything. It's GoDaddy hosting. No matter what environment, what website we're going to do with GoDaddy hosting, you get this. Alright, so what we are going to do is now, as we just finish the site, we're going to have to package it and move it to a new hosting, because this is unacceptable. You know, one person with it back a website tries to change it, and it's like, oh, hosting's dead. Dead out GoDaddy. So as you can see, that's what we had to suffer on daily occurrence for GoDaddy. And we only had 2 websites, 2 WordPress installs in the back. And so then what we did do is before I decided to move hosting, we upped this package to a dedicated BPS. We went up to, I think it's about £21 a month. And guess what? It's still happening. And all of the scores on, like, I don't really care about them, but it's good to see, you know, because other people are going to check them. Oh, your scores are terrible. So on GT metrics, from a shared hosting, we dropped from like 97 and I think it were 89 down to like 84 and 71 or something. So even though we'd, in essence, and to be fair, it's my own fault, you know, the fella at GoDaddy told me, while you're moving up to this one, it's like the worst of the best, if you know what I mean. Whereas at the minute, you're in the best of the worst. So you're probably best off going up to this even higher package. So I'm like, mate, so you're basically telling me that you're selling a package that you wouldn't, you as an employee recommend, and now you're trying to tuck me up and get me up to the like next one, which is like, I think £35 a month, £37 a month. So I wasn't doing it. So I started looking at it in other ways. I'm like, right, what can be causing my site to crash? So I started thinking about images there, Evie. You know, we all like background images, logos, product images, and you know, as it does WordPress, it puts the 6 different sizes, as we've seen a minute going as bucket, you know, for like, you know, shop thumbnail, shop products, and things like this. So I thought, right, I come across WP Offload Media. Thought that makes good sense. Start offloading my media to all these, you know, these CDNs and these buckets around the world, get them off my server, and it'll sort things out. So, you know, I did that. WP Offload Media, got that all configured correctly and everything. Showing me, as I showed you earlier, cdn.bookmine.online, but it was rentmydrive.co at the time. And crash again, just crashing all the time. So obviously, you know, I'm on to GoDaddy base saying, oh, it's all the plugins you've got. So then I get onto the plugin people and they'd be like, oh no, it's GoDaddy or it's a theme. Speak to theme authors. So then the theme authors, which I was using at the time, was a theme called WP Residence. After about 3 months, there are all these problems. They just stopped answering emails. It was like, look, you know, you might give us 100 quid, whatever, but go away. So then I started, like I said, looking and I'm thinking, you know, so I'm going to have my media on Google, and then the things like the app is that I was just showing a minute ago, you know, it does the like searching Ramsgate within 1 kilometre. And I've got these, so all of a sudden I'm starting to use all these Google services and bringing them into this GoDaddy. Well, you can see what you think of it. Crash, 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 crap. So I started looking, I thought, you know what? What about hosting on Google? So then I started looking into Google Cloud Platform, and there's a few videos out there, not too many. And you know, if you read Google Docs, what happens is you go to one Google document to learn one thing and it says you must have read and learnt these other 3 things before you can attempt this one thing. So now you're running around in circles, and it's like, look, this is what I want. I just want my WordPress installation on Google servers, which we all know are top notch. I want to be able to do it free for the first year, so if I don't actually like it, I can just digress everything, switch my DNS back to GoDaddy, go into my cPanel, go to backups, bang, back up the site, and it's as if it never was. But that's not going to happen because the difference between the back of GoDaddy is either this or trying to load the plugin page will take 30, 45, 60 seconds or whatever. So I have no interest in that. So like I said, I just brought it all over here. And I'd say it took me about a month of, getting it all to configure correctly, because then what happened is once I got the mailing set up, which we just seen, well, what happened then is this, as soon as I put offload media up, I had it all activated, set up, this was working, it was serving us, instead of storage.apis, it was serving cdn.bookmine.online, which was all perfect, as we've seen up here. I think it's here. I've got all the certificate, I've got the HTTPS, you set this up, and then you'd also put one of these in here and stuff like that. So, I had all this working. Now I've got it there instead of a URL, but we'll get to that in a bit. So, yeah, as it is, I'm really happy with our Google Cloud Platform, how we set it up. And when we do go through it, you'll see that, within an hour, you've got all this up and running now. The delay, which frustrates me, I'm not going to lie. When I first did it, I'm thinking, have I done it right? Oh, it's not showing, undoing it, redoing it. So when we get to the DNS, and we set the DNS, so, as I've shown you a minute ago on, for instance, we've got IP addresses, things like that. So when our IP address, it's going to go to that. So we'll go through this and we'll do all the checks to make sure, for instance, in GoDaddy, or if you're in SiteGround or HostGator or whatever, you're going to get this sort of thing where you can set your DNS records. Like, so you'll just change them to that, and then when you log into SiteGround, it'll say we no longer manage your servers, and then you'll come into here and it'll all be set up. So without further ado, what I'm going to do now, I don't think there's anything else I have to discuss as such. So all of this work I've been doing, I've done this about 12 times, so it's, water for ducks back now, to be fair. But I'm going to delete all of this. So we've got all these different things in here. We use these virtual machine. That's where as WordPress install is. Watch. That's like a server, if you like. So I've got this bookmine deploy virtual machine. We can see we've got an external IP address, which we've seen a few times. This here, SSH, this is a tool we use for both installing the SSL and removing the most annoying Bitnami banner that appears, which we'll cover that again in a bit. So let's see. So that's a VM instance, like I said, actually server. If you think about, this is your house and this is your address. That's probably simple enough. Oh, sorry. As well, what we've got here is snapshots. Right, what snapshots are? Stateless and mail working, as you can see. It shows snapshot size. Right, these are backups, which if we have to restore, which further on down we're going to do, isn't it brilliant when somebody calls you while you're recording? Anyway, so what I'm going to do is, like I said, I've shown you that. I've switched the phone off quickly. We've gone through storage buckets and we've gone through load balancing. Cloud, right here, sorry, let's have a quick look. Cloud CDN will be able to see. Origin name. Backends, that's CDN Bookmine Online. So let's click that off and for you to have a quick look at. And again, it just covers these sort of things. Protocol shows the IP port for it. Now this is different to that. So we've got CDN Bookmine Online. We can see the backend bucket. And like I said, somebody else obviously trying to get through to it in a minute. It's always the way. Deployment manager, we've covered that. Marketplace, we've probably go and just straight away install through that. We've got APIs and services. And I'll just one moment. So what we've got here is APIs and services. I mentioned, I'm not going to show them at the moment. Well, I can, because we're going to rekey them anyway, and you can restrict them. So only thing we've got here for APIs and that in this account is we've got the storage, which is a service account which we set up. I've set this up in a Gmail account, but as we go through, we'll see how we set up APIs for places, maps. That's if you need them. You might not actually need maps APIs, but it's always good to learn these things, and you'll get another string to your bow as a WordPress developer. So just say some client did say, "I've been hearing about this Google Cloud platform. What do you think?" You can be like, "Well, is this?" You explain it to them. You don't have to show them my video. Just explain what you've picked up by it. And when they're like, "Yeah, it sounds really brilliant," you say, "Right, well, I'll tell you what, 200 quid for initial day." And then you just sit down and you just do this, and if you're going to be charging them, just you can drag it out a bit more. You start installing out plugins, you start putting them into Pro, you start saying any of these sorts of things that we want. So this will be a brilliant string to your bow, and it gives you an option from all these other hosting companies that that you charge from that. Unlimited websites, but as I know, if you're back at GoDaddy and you've got 2, 3, 5 websites, crashes. So there's no point having loads of websites that look beautiful if they don't actually work. And then so you see all them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be deleting all this instance of it, and we'll be going back to all this being fresh. Like say you'll set up billing. I'm not going to set up billing for this. I'll have had all that done. So as soon as you set up billing, you'll come into the dashboard, which is here. And then as we start setting things up, you see the project name. Always be aware that you're actually doing things in your projects. You've got several projects. Look, as we can see here, we've got one compute instance, which is a virtual machine, which is the WordPress install. We've got one storage bucket. Now, as you get used to this, you could literally set up like different buckets within here, and you can put them on different sites. It's up to you, look at your usage, how much you're going to get billed. It's not really a lot, but it's just easier just to have it all in one place and be able to bring your apps in, bump straight to another site. If you've got 5 other sites, bring all that sort of thing in. Or you can link them all in there. You can do separate projects, but we'll go through that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete everything, and hopefully I see you on the other side and you interested in learning this, and you'll be able to go tic-tac-toe by the end of these videos. And even for non-WordPress developers, if you've got a business and you're getting rinsed out on a website, you're sick of other people, and you think, I'd love to do it, I'd love to learn that, but it costs so much money, so much time. Well, we're in about an hour, we'll have more straight done. But like I say, we have to wait for DNS to propagate, which sometimes can be an overnight thing. So it can be, right, I've got to this stage, I do all these checks, everything's perfect, I'm just going to go away, go off for a missus, go to pictures, go have some dinner, whatever. And you'll obviously sit there checking through kproxy, and then eventually you'll see the different stages that we'll go through, and then you'll see your domain with the SSL there, and then you move on to the next things. Okay, bye.